I was quite busy last Sunday and earlier this week, so I didn't have the time to make a Coffin progress report review video for this month. I'm already 1 week late, but this is the first official author commentary that we ever got after 1 whole year of Nemlei's absence. So I will have to talk about it sooner or later, especially for my future Coffin videos. I'm not going to read through this whole thing because most of y'all have already done that. I will just talk about the parts that I have something to say. They were nice enough to include some wholesome screenshots from episode 3. The first one is Andrew and Ashley laughing and hugging each other, which is very odd for the K route. This cutscene art better not end up becoming unused art like the Bagadi Chatter and the other one. You know, Nemlei likes strolling around with all these developed arts in the comics. The second one is Andrew and Ashley chilling on a tower in the in-between realm. This can be the same one that we've seen quite many times from previous reports. These towers or lighthouse seems to be connected or important locations of episode 3A. You can see that Andrew's sprite is sad while Ashley's chibi sprite is happy. And what she says here kind of refers to the scene in episode 1 where Ashley says that she's fine with being locked up in the apartment as long as Andrew is with her. You can only wonder what they have done to get themselves stuck in this situation again. Andrew is maybe sad or worried that they have to stay in a place where
you can do no possible harm, and where no harm can come to you.
Or maybe he's just contemplating reality. This whole area looks amazing, by the way. And I think this is now the report format that we'll be getting every month until the release of episode 3A and 4. They will give us 2 screenshots as episode 3 teaser contents, then the rest of the report will be after commentary or some announcements, surveys, responses as Kid9 stated in the October report. And they will always end with something like, the development continues, unchanged. We'll be getting less and less teaser content to see and consume as Nemlei and Kid9 cannot risk spoiling too much about episode 3A and 4. So in the meantime, I suppose we should just be happy that there's still something about this game to check out every month. At least Nemlei is back with delivering game updates, and who knows if one day they decide to respond to fans in the community tab again. The after commentary part is really long, which is good because this is where the yapping and the fun begins. So for those who only know about Nemlei because of Coffin and don't quite understand what Nemlei is saying here, Nemlei has been making visual novels since 2019. Before 2023, Nemlei had made 5 visual novel games that were all uploaded to their itch.io page. Sadly, none of them got popular. The author pretty much acknowledged here that because their previous games are pure visual novels, the gameplay is just point, click, and read. There's not much interaction, no interesting gameplay mechanic, and the stories that these games try to tell were only created within 1 month due to the game jam's rules. A lot of stuff was shelved or removed. So these games were not at their full potential and they were not appealing to the larger audience. On the other hand, I suppose that because Nemlei is an indie game creator, they didn't have the budget to market or advertise their old games, so it's natural why the old games didn't get far. Maybe except for Checking the Castle because that game was not only uploaded to itch.io for the game jam, but also on Steam after the game jam. It stayed there for a while, even got a few updates. And eventually it got taken down solely because Nemlei felt that game was not good enough. Nemlei's previous visual novels are something you may call as experimental games. They were made so that the author could learn more about making visual novels and improve their writing. And if you wonder what happened to these 5 games, where is Nemlei's itch.io page? Basically everything was purged because some angry Warjack people decided to dox the author back in November 2023. That was also when Kid9 Studios stepping into the role of owner and publisher of Coffin, while Nemlei withdrew from the internet. Back to Nemlei's previous games, I personally don't think these games are that bad. Some of them have arguably worse stuff than Coffin. If one of them had gotten the same popularity that Coffin did, I'm sure Nemlei would still have got caught in the controversies in one way or another. It's kinda sad that many Coffin fans literally fall in love with Beta Half or No Good Noel. I also have a soft spot for Divination, but we only discovered those games through Coffin. And when we discovered them, it was too late. They were all taken down and may never come back. The only good news here is that Nemlei may return to their previous games once they are done with Coffin, which I think will take at least another 3 to 4 years. Anyway, if you like Coffin, then I really recommend checking out Nemlei's previous games. It's one of the things that you should do while waiting for Coffin episode 3A and 4. You can watch the playthrough videos on YouTube or play these games yourself by downloading them through the link under the description. The next part of this yapping session will be a bit messy because I'm not exactly sure what I'm trying to point out in this part. The Coffin of Andy and Lele started out as a submission for a game jam. It was just a corny-ass bottle episode organ harvesting edgelord rum that was made in 1 month. Its purpose was to test out the author's hypothesis, which is visual novels with gameplay perform better than pure visual novels. As we all know, Coffin Episode 1 was well received, it gained enough traction and support to guarantee there would be a sequel and a fanbase. This was almost similar to how Helltaker became an indie hit back in 2020. In case you don't know about Helltaker, it's another RPG game where you play as a random guy going to hell to seduce demon girls, solve some puzzles, discover a few secrets, and cook pancakes. That game was created only because its author, Van Ripper, had a dream about a harem full of sharply dressed demon girls. What I'm trying to say here is that both Nemlei and Van Ripper were just making silly games and somehow their products became indie hits. I swear that the first time I discovered Coffin when they only had episode 1, I immediately thought to myself, wow, this game kinda looks like Helltaker, maybe I should check it out. And I got hooked on Coffin right after finishing watching the playthrough. I know that in a few more months, this game could become just as popular as Helltaker, which it did. But I'm gonna talk about the similarities in how Coffin Episode 1 and Helltaker went viral first. The reasons are similar than you may think. Those two games have their own simple but effective eye-catching art styles and unique soundtracks. They have light puzzles or exploration gameplay and edgy stories. The most important factor is you can finish Helltaker or Coffin Episode 1 in under 1 hour. Those games are very easy to consume, which means the players doesn't need to delve too deep into the lore in order to understand and enjoy them. One thing I sometimes see people mention is the possible demonic influence. Helltaker is about demon girls, so it has all the demonic references you can think of. Coffin Episode 1 also has demon, satanic ritual, and those things play a vital part in its story. The laziest common conspiracy here is that both developers must have made a deal with the devil in exchange for fame or talent, which explains why their games got popular all of a sudden. It's just like rumors about celebrities selling their soul to Satan for a good career. It is obvious that Helltaker and Coffin Episode 1 barely have anything innovative in terms of gameplay and story, but there's still some sort of inexplicable influence or force that is able to pull as many players as possible towards those games. Maybe Helltaker and Coffin Episode 1 are just that good, or we just want something dark and edgy to play sometimes to remind us of the good old teenage years and childhood. But I hope you don't truly believe in the Satan conspiracy. That's just like how boomers back then thought Doom is bad because it's too gory and satanic. Anyway, on the topic of Helltaker and Coffin, I also want to point out a detail nobody seems to notice. Is the hentai that appears from time to time in pop games. If you pay close attention, you will notice that the characters in Coffin tend to do this hentai not only in episode 1, 2, but also in future episodes. It is almost similar to the I Love You hentai, and the I Love You hentai is usually confused with the Devil Horn hentai. This hentai is very popular in pop culture. I know nothing about sign language, so I can't say if this hentai means anything in particular. Maybe it's just how pop creators like to draw hands because drawing hands is hard. If you know something about this hentai, then I would be happy to read about it under the comment section. And for most of you who have no clue what I'm even saying, don't overthink it, it's not worth it. Now let's take a break with something less dramatic. This other commentary came with the original sketch of Andrew and Ashley. If you have played Nemlei's old games, then those character design would be so familiar to you. In Nemlei's first visual novel, which is Jack in the Castle, one of the main characters in this game has almost the same hairstyle as Andrew. And in Beta Half, Nemlei's third visual novel, the main character of that game has almost the same hairstyle as Ashley. And to this day, most Coffin fans still think Andrew and Ashley's hairstyle or their overall design are based on Twin Jack and Doomer Girl. You can say their design are somewhat inspired from Twin Jack and Doomer Girl, but Twin Jack was originated from a tweet on January 31st, 2020 according to Know You Meme, while this Nemlei's character from Jack in the Castle has existed since March 2019, and this Nemlei's character from Beta Half has existed since March 2021, which was 1 year after the birth of Doomer Girl. But let's be real, Ashley's design looks nothing like the Doomer Girl except for the Joker in black clothes. At the end, I just want to make it clear that comparison memes like this are funny, but we shouldn't take them as facts. There are so many people who unironically believe this. Alright, moving on to the next part, I guess it's time to talk about it. Talk about the incest, the main attraction, the core of all controversies and criticism, the cause of the rise and the withdrawal of Nemlei. After Coffin Episode 1 was uploaded on itch.io and got some attention, Nemlei already got caught in an argument between the multiple leads and the people who just want to enjoy harmless fiction. Even though there is not much explicit detail or cutscene in Episode 1 pointing out that Andrew and Ashley's relationship is incestuous, many players could still sense there's something sussy going on between them. And so there were at least 3 groups of people. Group 1 asked the author to make Andrew and Ashley a couple in the next episode. They were basically asking Nemlei to make an incest ending. Group 2 asked the author to not fulfill the wish of Group 1 because they wanted their video game about cannibalism, toxic codependency, murder, and demon summoning to not have incest. To those guys, incest is inappropriate in a game full of other batshit crazy things. And Group 3 asked the author to just do whatever the fuck they wanted with the story. Ignore Group 1 and 2. Coffin Episode 1 entered Steam probably 1 month later. The arguments between Group 1 and 2 continue in the Steam discussion. As the author said, there are people who are tirelessly pissed and moan about Coffin for having incest. Those guys are the Group 2 guys. They have been around since day 1, and you gotta thank them because not only did they boost engagement for this game, they were also the reason why Nemlei drew these mock arts. Many people thought that these mock arts were created because of Twitter users bitching about the game, but not really, because Twitter only knew of Coffin when episode 2 came out, while these mock arts and comics were uploaded along with their blogs months before episode 2. It's quite funny because Nemlei drew these mock arts to spite Group 2, the multiple leads and the general haters on itch.io and Steam discussion. Then months later, when episode 2 was released, someone reposted these mock arts on Twitter. So from there, Twitter users thought that Nemlei was mocking them with these arts. They thought that this creator was declaring war with them, while Nemlei didn't do anything. And just like that, Twitter has become the biggest free marketing department of Coffin. It was such a perfect shitstorm. But at the same time, it was also sad because the amount of misinformation, false assumption, accusation, allegations, the controversies, criticism, dramas, etc. that this game, its creator, and its fans have gone through is just insane. They all be saying, it's just an incest game, it's not that deep. But they are the ones showing the utmost, deepest hatred towards a harmless video game that I ever got to witness. Whenever I look back at the era before Coffin Episode 2 released, I just wish that Episode 2 hadn't become so popular. Everything was somewhat fine before Episode 2. Coffin already had a small fan base and that was good enough for an indie game. You may say it was Nemlei's intention to push the incest stuff in Coffin Episode 2, that they intentionally used incest as a tool to spy the haters and get them to talk about this game for attention. But then you have to admit that Nemlei either got lucky because that plan worked, or they were damn good at pissing these kinds of people up. And that was the moment I realized the shitstorm that happened on itch.io after episode 1 release was the Civil War. The controversies that spread all across the internet after episode 2 release was World War I. The Nazi raiding the Coffin subreddit was World War II. The Watashi situation was the Korean conflict. The electric and forward drama was the Indochina Wars. Right now, we're at the post-Soviet era due to the lack of new contents and the disintegration that is slowly happening in the Coffin fandom. And I am scared that when episode 3A and 4 are finally released, this game will be so exaggerated, blow up, and distorted by the haters and social media to the point that the internet will treat it like a second 9/11. Nemlei knew that Coffin would piss off certain people when making episode 2. They were right, but they did not expect the storm to be on global scale. Looking back at everything that has happened, there were many times when this game, the author, and the fandom were on the eve of destruction, yet we're still here, not only to suffer, but to also enjoy it. It's going to be a lot more awful, and I hope you all are ready for it. Thank you for watching, see you in the next video, and goodbye.